And if it were not for Ashli, I don't know how well I would have survived that space when we were there together, because there was a lot happening in my life and that space took a lot out of me.
So I'm going to read their show bio, and I actually have an interesting connection to this show that we will talk about when we bring them on. But so in the spring of 2018, Ashli would meet the man who would change her life forever. As she slowly sauntered into her place of work, she came across Mashaun and looked curiously and eagerly into his eyes. She didn't know it then, but standing before her was the man who would become her greatest challenge and unexpected blessing. From that moment on, things would never be the same. And from that moment on, they would embark on a journey that would be a dream fulfilling opportunities. In that moment, B4Nine was born. B4Nine is all the things. And what does that mean? It's pretty simple. They are both complicated, but not so complicated creatives with opinions and perspectives that are unique and often shared by others afraid to express their points of view. They are both unapologetically Black and are not afraid to share their opinions and perspectives about all things Blackness, popular culture, relationships, sex, and identity. And it is with that we are going to bring on Ashli J. Washington and Mashaun D. Simon of B4Nine Podcast.
Welcome to the show. Yes. So, J. Ray, while you were reading that, it sounded like the synopsis of a really great rom-com.
It did. I was like, oh my God, this is like, what happens next?
Will they or won't they?
I'm like, but wait, Mashaun, you met me. How did I meet you? I was there first.
See, what had happened was,
tell us a little bit. You approved everything that went up on that website. So
there you go.
Listen, we need to update that. That must be from 2019, honey.
See? And you can tell, and this is the kind of flavor you can get on B4Nine, on the B4Nine podcast. But tell our audience, because we're familiar with your dopeness, but tell our audience all about B4Nine and how it came to pass and what they can expect on the show.
Go ahead, Ashley.
Okay, so Mashaun met me, first of all. We'll start there. But no, yeah, Mashaun and I used to work together, and the name of the show actually, I don't think it was in the bio, but the name of the show actually came about because we both would get to work B4Nine. And our friendship really developed in like that half hour to 45 minutes or so before everybody came to the office. He got there early and I would get there early, and we just like organically would have these rich, beautiful, deep, enlightening, vulnerable conversations in the morning, and it just bloomed. Our relationship and our friendship bloomed from there. And I know it was Mashaun's idea. I don't remember the exact conversation, but I'm sure it was Mashaun's idea to start a podcast. And yeah, we've been tight since then.
So she leaves out one little piece, and that's Ashli was used to getting there before everybody. And so when I started getting there earlier than her, it used to annoy her. She'd be like, what you doing this early? But yeah, like it very much, I just had this thought one day, and I was like, we should do a podcast. Like, we're having some very real, very authentic, very unique, very rich conversations, and other people should hear these things coming out of our mouths.
Yeah.
So I feel like this is a good time to talk about my connection to B4Nine the podcast.
Yep.
So when Mashaun was in, Mashaun actually came to me. So this is probably 2018, 2019 time frame, and wanted to talk to me about podcasting. And so the first season of B4Nine the podcast, I had the pleasure of producing with these folks. And I'm just like, one, y'all got all the lessons, because y'all, they edited the show. They came into this with no experience doing that. Was taught how to do it. I recorded the show, they edited the show, released the show, and now they're on season 3. So I'm just incredibly grateful that I got to be part of y'all launching this thing, and am happy that y'all are on your new season. But y'all took a break. So we need to talk about this break. So y'all took a hiatus. Tell us about what you did during the hiatus, and individually and collectively. What does B4Nine kind of want to say now after your break?
Well, it was an unexpected hiatus. Like let's start there. We got into this habit of, after everything that Johnny taught us, we were like, okay, we're ready to do this thing ourselves. And so we did season 2. We recorded season 2 all on our own. Most of it here in my home. And then pandemic. I think Ashley had a COVID scare. Someone close to Ashley had a COVID scare.
Mhm.
And so it caused us to think about, how are we going to continue? And in what ways could we continue? So we were very much on the fly. We were using all these websites that would record for us. We were calling each other on FaceTime while recording. It was this whole thing. Um, and then we ended season 2, and we just never really set a date to come back for season 3. Like, it was just like, okay, we're done with this. We're gonna take a little break, just to sort of give us a chance to breathe. And took a while to come back.
2 years.
It
And
took
so
a
now
whole
when things like
year.
that happen, J Ray and I talk a lot about this. Like, some podcasts, they just don't come back. They pop and then they shake and then they're out of
It's
there.
run out.
Was there ever a moment where the either of you were like, you know what? We did this. We were good at it. It was cute. We got some stuff out of it. We did what we needed to do. Was there any consideration of not coming back?
We never talked about it. But I think things got so busy. And to answer part of Johnny's, well, first of all, Johnny, thank you for being there and being the foundation of B4Nine. You are still at the heart of B4Nine, and I feel like there wasn't an episode either on the record or before we started recording or after we started recording where we didn't speak your name and say we miss Johnny. So just thank you so much for sewing into us in the way that you did. I will never forget that, and I know Mashaun will never forget that. So thank you so much. But I think so. We got busy. We got busy during the pandemic. To answer, your question, Sir Daniel, I was sewing. I sew. So I have an associate's degree in fashion design, and so I was sewing masks at the beginning of the pandemic. So maybe, well, not right at the beginning. Whenever the CDC was finally like, "Hey, y'all, wear some masks," which probably was around April, May-ish. I was making masks nonstop. This space that I'm in right now was full of masks. I live with my best friend. I was teaching her how to make masks, and we was making them, sending them out. And so it got really busy then. And then just opportunities came up. I was, on a reality TV show at one point, and I started writing for the screen. And it just was things just kept piling on top of each other. And of course, at the same time, Mashaun is still moving and doing things and creating. And so we never had a conversation about not coming back. We just weren't having a conversation at all. And then Mashaun, of course, was the first one to be like, okay, well, when are we going to start? And we were having that same conversation for at least 6 months. Mashaun, okay, it's literally taking us probably almost a year to actually come back together and record something. And I'll leave it at that and let Mashaun answer.
I mean, and there was one point where we had a conversation, probably early 2021, and I remember vividly Ashley being like, okay, so I'm doing this and you doing this, and so let's just see after this point. And so I think we waited a couple more months, and then we brought the conversation back up. but life just kept lifing.
Mm.
And so like things kept happening in our lives professionally, things kept happening in our lives personally. I lost several people in the midst of the pandemic. Um, that it altered how I just even presented in the world. And so we couldn't make it work. It
Mhm.
just we would meet, we would talk about it, and we would talk about what are we gonna talk about when we come back. And it just
Mhm.
wouldn't pop. But I think one of the things I appreciate is we ended up coming back when it was time to come back.
Mm.
And
Mm.
so the fact that we are now back, um, recording, this is our first week of the new episodes. It happened when it needed to happen, and I think we both were just sort of leaning there, like we're not going to force it. Um, there was a period of time we were forcing it because we almost had the opportunity to record somewhere else, and we worked so hard to make that thing
We
work.
did.
And then we both were just like, why don't we just do what we always been doing? Like,
Mm.
let's
Mm.
just let's just do that. It works for us. We know how to make it happen. And if and when the chance comes, then we'll make use of that space.
It's,
Go ahead, Sir
so
Daniel.
so I was, it's all about timing, right?
Mhm.
And I can't just sitting here just listening to you all talk. I just can't help but think of, this is like DC3. You know, everybody is always asking when are y'all gonna get together again. Y'all are making these solo appearances in the public, and we love that. We love that. But when is the group getting back together again? And this is like homecoming for you guys.
This is
The
our
episode is
Coachella.
up.
This
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 is
is
your Coachella.
this is
The new
Coachella.
episode is up. I'm not gonna ask which one of you is the Beyonce. I think I think we know, but I'm not gonna ask. But no, but seriously, it's it's great to see you all back together, and being apart from each other, and still, but there's still support.
Mhm.
Y'all still supported each other even outside of the show because there's a relationship there. And we talked about gratitude earlier in the show, and it's like, what are you most grateful for in each other as partners on the show? Like, when you think about it, be like, you know what, I'm really glad Mashaun is my partner in this because, or I'm super grateful that Ashley is my partner in this because.
Oh wow. I feel like this is like a therapy session. This is good.
Yeah, it is.
Hey.
This is our couples
Um
counseling situation.
right, right. I think I'm grateful for Mashaun and this partnership because of his commitment to it and how passionate he is about the show, about the podcast, and then the relationship too. Um, he's great at building and maintaining great relationships with people, and that's a big part of the reason why our show is successful in the way that it is because we have that relationship. I'm not always super great at that, and so I think if Mashaun wasn't a part of this equation, if it was two of me, I don't know. But yeah, I'm really grateful for that.
Oh, thank you, Ashley. I mean, I am amazing, all
You
those
are.
great things. And so, I get it. It's funny because in the episode we just recorded that's coming out in a few weeks, um, Ashley made this statement that I hadn't really considered. And Ashley was like, you're the prim and proper and scholarly one. And I'm like, I can't remember exactly what you said, but it was like not exactly hood rap, but you were like, I'm a little more street or something like that. And so then we did this switch in the midst of the episode where she started talking proper because she says I'm all proper. And I was giving, 1, 2, 1, 3. And so I think that is one that I appreciate about our partnership is that like we fill the slots the best way we know how. But we play off of each other and feed off of each other so well. Um, like Ashley said earlier, we used to work together, and so even though we weren't doing the podcast anymore, we still were connected with each other through work. And if it were not for Ashley, I don't know how well I would have survived that space when we were there together, because there was a lot happening in my life, and that space took a lot out of me. And so I was having this really difficult time with work-life balance. And if it hadn't been for Ashley being there, um, I don't know if I would have been able to succeed the way that I did. And so the podcast is just an extension of that. Because we have this bond, we have this strong relationship. She's my sister. Um, her parents are my parents. We talk about
You
this
trying
all
to
the
take them
time.
away from me.
Listen, I talked to Mama Washington just the other day.
She told me.
And so there's this very real, she is the sister I never had, and I can authentically be myself, she can authentically be herself. We learn from each other, we push each other, and we support each other in everything that we have going on together and separately, and I'm so very thankful for
Mm. So I think to that point, it's been a couple of years. What can people expect from this season of B4Nine, the podcast?
Mashaun, I'm gonna let you take that one.
Mashaun is so excited to talk about it too. Mashaun,
that. I mean, so there's an interesting thing happening with the season so far, which is why I'm excited. So we came in with these ideas of what we were going to do for the season, all of these topics, et cetera, and it has changed on the dime. Like, we came in with a whole season laid out, and yet I think we recorded half of that season so far, and only two of the things we planned is what has come out in the season. So we're like, okay, let's just roll with it, which is what happened. Like, season 1 was plotted out, and we had these topics and themes that we lived into. Season 2 was very off the cuff. Season 2 was very, what's going on now, what's happening, what do we want to talk about. Season 3 seems to be a mix of the two. Just the other day, I sent Ashley a message about this guy's rant on TikTok about what Black men should be talking about on podcasts, and Ashley was like, well, I guess we need to talk about some of these things too. And I was like, I guess we do. And so it's just a mixture of all things. See, that first episode was very much a, what have we been up to during the break? Episode 2, we do this thing called 9 questions that apparently everyone loves. And so we did a whole episode on 9 questions. We're talking about Honk for Jesus, Save Your Soul. We're gonna bring in guests this season in a different kind of way. Ashley made me do half of a show talking about Renaissance. Like, made me talk about
Very much
Renaissance. So that's just sort of what's coming out of it. It's very much what's going on. What do we care about? What do we need to talk about? And what's going to be fun and entertaining all at the same time.
Well, entertaining, you two are definitely entertaining.
Yes.
Together and apart, because I don't know, for those of you that are watching this broadcast, there's a bodice figure behind Ashley, and on top of that bodice figure is a hat, is a crown. And the significance, if I'm not mistaken, that's the same crown that was featured in a viral video of Ashley doing her good old lip sync of Queen Latifah's Ladies First.
Yes.
And I mean, she had the suit, the power suit.
She had it down.
It was down. And you know me, if as the resident historian, female rap historian, I can tell you that was very accurate in your portrayal. The lip sync was on point, and on cue points, we're gonna drag you into a music conversation because that's what we do.